So February 14th is a day to express your love, right? Go out to dinner, candy, flowers. Well, the sentiment is the polar opposite for DoorDashers and Uber drivers. They're planning on striking February 14th in protest. You might see some people striking, some people not. Very disorganized when it comes to striking. And this led me to, I guess, ponder an idea like, how can an independent contractor actually go on strike against a company? They're not a W-2 employee. They're contract workers. So you see, the gig economy is based on an onion, if you think about it. So the core of the onion, that's where all the money is. That's where your corporate headquarters are. And there's many, many layers on the outside of that onion that keeps them insulated from the little guy who is on the outside. So to peel away some of this onion skin, we're going to need help. We're going to need help from congressmen. We're going to need help from mayors. We are going to need help from local municipalities to get this done. I'd like to use Seattle as my main focus. Seattle saw the problem and they enacted some specific bylaws in the town of Seattle that benefits gig workers. And I don't see why other municipalities aren't doing this. So what I mean by this is, don't quote me on the specifics, but basically DoorDash drivers get a minimum of $5 and then they get a per mile charge, and that covers the cost of their vehicle. And then on top of that, they also get a delivery fee. So it's more in line with, I guess, kind of the trucking industry. The trucking industry runs much the same. You carry freight, you get a per mile percentage, right? And basically you negotiate with your broker on the best rate. Well, in this case, negotiating the best rate might be your municipality. It might be going to the local officials and saying, hey, I'm a gig worker, we are gig workers as a collective, and hammering down some of these, I guess, some of the local municipalities to enact some of these laws like Seattle. I feel like we have to have this bottom-up approach to getting to the center of the onion. So if municipalities enact these laws within their confines, DoorDash is forced to change their ways. And if enough municipalities change their ways, or townships talk to each other, or state representatives start enacting a statewide municipal order, things would change. You see, collective bargaining only works if you're part of a union. We as gig workers are not part of a union. We are not organized. We are, again, on the outside of that onion, and we are scattered. Each individual, we are segregated. And you know, gig companies like that. They like unorganization. They like the layers of onion to stay far away from them. And the only time that that center onion comes out to talk is to talk about how great they're doing. I think having a modern approach to doing this might actually change things. Because if we don't start thinking outside the box, those wages are going to continue to go down and down and down. And you know, the problem is those wages that go down and down and down, that's when DoorDash expects customers to pick up that tab. You see, they benefit the most. Customers suffer, DoorDash drivers suffer. So their solution isn't really a solution. There needs to be an overhaul on how things are done. Transparency, what order goes where, how many miles is it actually, what items am I picking up, where am I going? And on the customer side, where are all these fees coming from? Why aren't they itemized? Why aren't they itemized? They should be. And there should be municipalities that are making DoorDash itemized and making things more transparent. You see, transparency between customers and drivers, that's the problem right now. We have no tip, no trip, right? But a lot of customers think that the delivery fee and some of those fees that they're paying are actually going to us. And DoorDash loves that because that keeps them, well, out of the blame game, right? You see, things need to fundamentally change from the way the orders are taken. Drivers have an order and also to the compensation drivers are being given. I like Seattle's model, and I hope that that adoption kind of grows because I feel like it's the fairest deal for everyone. A $5 minimum delivery fee, a by the mile, whether it's 40 cents a mile or whatever to help deflect gas and maintenance on my car. And then lastly, that fee, the delivery fee. I feel like if those were enacted, a lot of people would be happier. And those fees, customers, if you're watching this, us as DoorDashers don't think those fees are fair also. And there are several lawsuits because some of those fees are made up. They have a municipal fee. They have, basically they're saying, hey, the city is charging you tax. But in fact, the city isn't charging them tax. Or the city doesn't have that tax. So they're being disingenuous with their customers. And they're being disingenuous with their drivers. And I think it's time that we all come clean. Well, all of them come clean. I mean, I think drivers are pretty transparent, especially if anybody asks us off the street. I'll explain how I make my money. I'll explain why you have all these fees. I guess in closing, I'd like to just say, striking probably isn't the answer, but the answer I feel like I want to suggest to anybody watching is a grassroots approach. Approach your local mayor, your local building inspectors, somebody that can get the ball rolling. Because if large cities start enacting laws like Seattle, I feel like DoorDash and gig workers would be better off. Because if municipalities are saying they're getting charged a fee, but they're not, the towns are out money anyway. So why wouldn't they want to recoup a little money? You see what I'm saying? So I guess I wanted to leave you with a new idea besides striking. Anyway, I hope you found this informational. I hope that maybe I've instilled a couple of ideas if you're a DoorDasher. If you're a customer, I hope that you might be a customer that is, I don't know, an elected official. That would be great if you could get the ball rolling and help us out, because we're not asking for a lot. We just want contract negotiations. We want a fair wage, a living wage. When I mean living wage, not like $7 an hour. I mean a living wage where I could afford to do DoorDash full time.